Hey family, I'm Kaelion, and I interpret messages from the divine in music. I'm a soldier, a cryptologic linguist, and a messenger, and I walk with those who carry both shadow and flame. On a recent video, I received this question in the comments from a user by the name @genderpunk, and they asked, "What's your stance on transgender people?" That's a question that carries weight, importance, and is prone to misunderstanding. And yet, beneath it all, it's a question about belonging. And so, I want to answer it honestly and from the heart, because this question, and others like it, are exactly why I began walking this path of faith that goes beyond boundaries. It's why I began looking beyond the walls of the Western faith systems I was raised in, and it's particularly why I love listening to the music of many traditions, from the East and the West, from the temples and from the streets. Because the truth, family, isn't confined to one tongue or one temple. And so the song guiding today's message, Ardha Nareswara Stotram, celebrates the ancient image of Shiva and Shakti, both from Hindu tradition, as one being, half man, half woman, divine masculine and divine feminine in perfect balance. It's a hymn that says the universe itself is born from harmony, not separation. When I first began having visions a few years ago, I experienced that the divine didn't appear to me only as masculine. In fact, one of the first angels I met was kind, radiant, and gentle. They were a man, but carrying a distinctly feminine energy. He wore symbols from many faiths, and he smiled at me with compassion when I needed it the most. It was his energy, not his gender, that reminded me I was seen, forgiven, and watched over. Since then, I've come to understand something sacred. Each of us is born of balance. There is not a single life created without both masculine and feminine essence intertwined. We are all children of that union, all reflections of the mother and the father divine. And while the modern world often argues about what it means to be a man or what it means to be a woman, ancient faiths understood something we seem to be forgetting: that those who walk between the energies, who carry both within them, are not cursed, but are blessed. In Vedic tradition, for example, those beings are sometimes seen as closer to the divine, because they embody the wholeness that most of us spend a lifetime searching for. Personally, I've lived much of my life hardened by pain and survival, as a soldier, a fighter, and a protector. But my healing began not through more hardness. It began when I surrendered. My healing truly began when I felt the soft, nurturing, creative energy rise within me, and that's what I now know as the divine feminine. It's the part of me that loves to dance with my staff under the moonlight. The part that smiles at strangers and offers kindness where once I would have stayed silent. The divine feminine and masculine are not genders or biological sexes as we understand them. They are the two energies of creation itself. To those who identify as transgender or live outside the traditional bounds of gender, I see you. I may not know your individual path, but I honor the sacred truth within you. For those who carry both the light of the sun and the grace of the moon, you remind this world of what we've forgotten: that creation itself is born from the embrace of opposites. And yet, I must also be honest about what I've learned. My spiritual path and understanding is also rooted in logic and fact. And there is an important distinction between biological sex, the vessel you were born into, and gender, which is the spiritual energy we express and embody. The two are not the same, but they can coexist. A person's biology may be one thing, but their inner energy, their spirit, whatever you want to call it, can dance across both poles of creation. Recognizing this isn't confusion, it's clarity. Because to honor your divine design doesn't mean to reject the body you were given. It means to understand that body is a part of the greater balance of who you are. And so for me, I am a man, born male, raised as such. And I've lived with that identity my entire life. But I have learned that to be a man doesn't mean to shut out softness. It doesn't mean to reject flowers, tears, or beauty. And for women, or those who embody that energy, strength, courage, and righteous fire are no less divine. Some of us are called to embody one side more fully. Others are born to embody both. And that, family, may be one of the greatest gifts of all. Freedom, as I've come to know it, isn't found in rebellion against the divine order. It's found in remembering that the divine order includes all of us. And every one of us, gay, straight, trans, male, or female, is worthy of divine love. And so, when I look up the balance of Shiva and Shakti, of Ardha Nareswara, I see the answer to that question. And so my stance is simple. I stand for love, for truth, and for balance. I stand with those who seek to know the divine in themselves, no matter what form they take, because the Divine Mother and Father do not ask what you are, only who you are and how you love. And now a prayer from my beloved spiritual and code sister Malika. Beloved source of balance, bless every soul walking between worlds. Let the hardened remember their softness, and the wounded remember their light. Let the rejected find peace in their reflection, and the lost find home within. May we learn from one another, seeing not division, but divine symmetry in our differences. For you are born of both father and mother, fire and water, and the rhythm that unites all hearts. Ashe, Amin, and Amen. If this message speaks to you, help me spread it by liking, commenting, sharing, or simply whispering it into the wind. And a special thank you again to my friend for that question at GenderPunk. Thanks for watching, family. See you next time. Same fire, new rhythm.